What the Wellness from home. I'm going a little crazy, can y'all tell? Hey guys, I'm Ella Dove and welcome back to What the Wellness. BC, before COVID, this show was all about trying out the latest and greatest wellness treatments and experiences to find out what's weird and what's actually worth it. These days, while we're all stuck at home, I am exploring the wide world of wellness you can practice from the comfort of your own home, tapping the best and the brightest the wellness world has to offer to figure out how I can use all of the knowledge I learned out in the world right here at home with my own wellness practice. So today I'm chatting with Renee Rouleau. She's been an esthetician for about 30 years and has a pretty star-studded list of clientele. Lily Reinhart, Sofia Vergara, Debbie Lovato, Ella Dove, to name a few. Just kidding, I don't think I'm a star. And she has a really fresh approach to skincare. Unlike kind of conventional wisdom that says there are 3 skin types, oily, dry, and combo, Renee says there are 9. But you know what? She can probably explain all of that better than I can. So let's go ahead and hop on with Renee for my remote facial. Hopefully this will leave you guys with some things you can actually try at home.
Hi, I'm Renee Rouleau. I'm an esthetician. So early on, as an esthetician, when I went to school, they teach you about kind of the dry, normal, oily skin type. So once I became an esthetician and started working in the treatment room, all of a sudden I have these clients and I'm like, well, wait a minute, their skin is dry, normal, and oily, and they have melasma, and they have rosacea. And I realized that you can't just classify those 3 skin types. Dry, normal, and oily mainly just tells you how much oil secretion or lack you have in the skin. And that's helpful when you're determining like a moisturizer, like how heavy or light you want it to be. But what about all the other skin issues? And people can take a skin type quiz.
So before we met today, I did take the skin type quiz, and I took it twice because I'm a nut. The first one was a type 2, and then the second time I think I upped my acne concerns, and I was a type 6.
All right, so let's get started.
All right, hair up.
All right, so what we're gonna do, the first step in an at-home facial is to wash your face. Anytime you cleanse your skin, you never wanna use a bar soap, way too drying. You wanna choose low foaming cleansers. So let me give you an example. So I always tell people when they look at their cleanser, you wanna look at how much it lathers. So I'm adding a little bit of water here to my moisture protecting cleanser. But in this instance, I wanna show you, see there's like no bubbles, right? There's no foam. And so that's a sign of a really gentle cleanser, is something that doesn't give a lot of bubbles. So the more bubbles a cleanser gives, the more drying it is. So you don't wanna upset your skin's pH. And so cleansing is really the most important part of your routine, because if right out of the gate, you're using a cleanser that's too strong and too drying, and you've upset your skin's pH and you put the skin in dehydration mode, then every product after that has to like rehydrate the nourishment that you just took out.
How long do I cleanse for?
I don't know, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, something like that.
Cool, so I'm set.
Now we're going to go into the second step of the facial, which is using a chemical exfoliator. Today, me and Ella are going to use the Renee Rouleau Triple Berry Smoothing Peel.
This looks like it literally has berries in it.
So the idea here is that you want to use a chemical exfoliator. So a chemical exfoliator is something with acids in it. You can also use something with enzymes. That kind of works in a similar way, but essentially what acids do is they lower the pH of the skin, put the skin into what's called an acidic state, and it helps to start loosening up dead skin cells. And when you loosen them, it starts to kind of loosen the glue that holds them together. And so it's helping to kind of dissolve away pigment on the skin. So whether it's, sunspots or post-breakout marks, it's kind of starting to loosen that. It's also just loosening any expired dead cells that want to come off. It's normal that when you use anything with that acid in it, you might get a little tingling sensation.
The 90s girl in me loves that tingling because it's what I was raised on, even though I know that was bad.
so now we'll start to remove this. All right, so now what has happened is dead cells have been loosened up. Perfect. Have been loosened up, and now we want to do a lifting action. Some of the dead cells have actually already kind of made their way off, especially using a washcloth that does kind of remove some of them, but we want to kind of do a little next level exfoliation and do, at this point, we want to use a facial scrub. So I'm using this mint buffing beads, and I believe you have this as well. This uses tiny little round non-plastic beads. And the key with the facial scrub is you don't want to press hard. You want to use it real lightly. And that's anytime you're using a facial scrub. So this is what's called a physical exfoliator, meaning we're physically, manually lifting off dead cells and polishing the skin. Other physical exfoliators include a washcloth is considered a physical exfoliator, a sonic cleansing brush. You could use a sonic cleansing brush at this point because that's a physical exfoliator. So we're finishing up kind of a two-step form of exfoliation. And you can do this facial like once a week. I wouldn't do 2 steps of exfoliation more than once a week because it's kind of aggressive. Okay, so now that the skin is really freshly exfoliated, we're dealing with a lot of baby cells now that are new, and it's kind of like out with the old and with the new. So we are now going to go into our mask. The key here, understanding that we're dealing with baby cells, right? We're dealing with all these young cells, and we want to really nourish them. So I don't love masks that are really harsh and drying, because after you've exfoliated, you don't want to dry those new cells. So you have to be careful with clay masks. A lot of them are so drying. Some charcoal masks are really drying. So you might maybe use that more for your T-zone or something like that. But we're really into taking good care of these newly exposed cells. So my favorite type of mask to use that I think is good for all skin types is a gel-based mask. Every skin type needs water. Not every skin type needs oil, but everybody can benefit from water. And gel masks have a very high water content. And so you're basically like delivering like 8 glasses of water to the skin. In this instance, both Ella, you and I are using the Rapid Response Detox Mask by Renee Rouleau, which is like a antimicrobial, antibacterial mask that is good for resetting the skin, clearing the pores, helping with breakouts, but then it's also really hydrating and really calming. And so after we've done a pretty intensive exfoliation, we want to really calm the skin nicely. If you want to cool down the skin, you can throw in a mask, pull it out of your refrigerator, and then it makes it really, really cool. So it's really good for redness.
So this antimicrobial, this is obviously great to prevent acne, because I think most of what I'm dealing with is like bacterial acne that I can't get rid of. After you cleanse and wash your face, this might be a really good choice.
Yeah, you can use that as well. So it has, it's proven to have what's called a 5-minute kill rate. And what that means is that it kills all surface bacteria within 5 minutes.
And this is morning or night?
For like an at-home facial, I typically suggest night, because we're doing a lot of exfoliation, and during the day you have these baby cells, and then all of a sudden you're exposing them to the sun, even if you're wearing sunscreen, but you're exposing them to the environment. So it's just, I like doing it at night, because it's just like, oh, we're just going to take care of these baby cells and go to sleep. Now we're going to go into a toner. I always like using a toner after water has been on the skin, because water has salts, chlorines, and minerals that can dry out the skin. And so we don't want to leave that on the skin. But essences are a great way because they're oil-free, but they're a great way, for someone like you, Ella, where if you feel like you need hydration, but you don't want to add oil to the skin. So it's like a great way to really just make the skin feel more plump and moist without worrying about it, clogging the pores or causing problems for the breakouts. You want to leave it damp on the skin, and then you have a 60-second window before moisture evaporation occurs. So you want to quickly go into your next product.
Okay.
So So in this instance, it's daytime, so because I'm doing this in the morning, but I'm going to use my vitamin C and E treatment, which is the vitamin C serum.
And how often do you recommend using vitamin C?
Every morning. That's like your daily protection type product to use underneath sunscreen. It's interesting because being an esthetician for 30 years, I've seen so many trends come and go. So I'm not one to jump on some new trend or some new skincare ingredient, but vitamin C, hands down, is like a mainstay. I mean, it's been around for 15 years now, and it's so well studied, and it's like tried and true. Okay, so then now we're gonna wanna put moisturizer on.
Cool, so am I using my Hydro Boost?
Yes. And the idea is we just wanna seal in all that nourishment. If people wanna use a skin oil, they put the skin oil on top of a moisturizer because it has the largest molecule, so it acts like a top coat to kind of seal everything in. But if you're somebody that doesn't need oil in the skin, then I would skip using the skin oil. And then we can put eye cream on.
And now you need to tell me all about this eye cream application.
I just do a patting motion. I just use one finger and just kind of pat it on. And you know, you want to kind of do it around the crow's feet. I never recommend eye cream on the lids, but I'm a huge eye cream fan. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't really feel like it does anything. Well, especially for a skin like yours, Ella, where we don't want a lot of oil on your skin. Well, we don't have oil glands around the eyes, so we need something heavier there. So eye creams are a great way to kind of target the needs just in that area, which is basically delivering more oil to the skin.
Why not on the lid?
Because I don't want it to seep into the eyes. And, you know, so we already kind of, when your eyes are folded, you know, like when you notice your eyeshadow creasing and stuff. So we do get moisture that kind of builds up in that area, and then moisture can make eye creams travel into the eyes, and then you can risk getting puffiness or swelling because it made its way into the eye.
Okay, and now how do I continue to take care of my skin after my weekly facial?
Keep up your sunscreen application, you know, and make sure, it's not the most glamorous product, and everyone's like, yeah, sunscreen, whatever, but it's like the number one most biologically active product you'll ever use, meaning it actually has the ability to prevent damage on the skin and DNA damage within the cells. So you definitely want to wash your face at night. If you ever get lazy, you know, get too tired or whatever, do your routine earlier. A lot of times people think, oh, my nighttime routine is 5 minutes before I go to bed and my head hits the pillow. Well, you want to wait till after dark though, because you still have UV light coming in your house if you do it when the sun is still out. But so wait until after dark, but you can do it at 8 o'clock and just get it out of the way.
Okay, well, thank you again. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, so I just did a 35-minute at-home facial with the famed esthetician Renee Rouleau. I did it from the comfort of my own bathroom in my pajamas, but it was a pretty cool experience because I had access to one of the biggest names in skincare in my own bathroom via Zoom, and I have to say, I learned a lot, and I feel like I know a lot about skincare. I feel like everything we did, I can do again, and my skin looks dewy, glowy, moist, hydrated, breakout free. Here are my biggest takeaways. Vitamin C is king. Cleansing should not be overlooked morning or night. You cannot mix all of your skincare, they will not work. And SPF, as always, should be your best friend. Do not leave the house without it, even if you're just going out to the mailbox. Put on some sunscreen. I'm Ella Dove, and this is What the Wellness from my bedroom, in my fancy pajamas, aka my outfit for the rest of the day, because why get dressed all the way when we're stuck at home? See you next time. Want more What the Wellness? Subscribe to Well+Good's YouTube channel right now.